what we do. And these days are special days, not really easy days for most of us. Crisis, half of the world is still locked down, like yourself and like myself in the rooms at homes. And when things change and things rapidly change, we experience a lot of uncertainty. Um, and uncertainty provoke many different reactions. And one of the reactions that I'm sure that you have no idea at all what I'm talking about is it provokes the survival channel in us. Survival channel, what I refer to you now is things that you know, but I mean, you know it from your own experience, but there is an institute called the Cotter Institute, which made a research that I rely upon myself, upon here, how people react to uncertainty. And the most common reaction to uncertainty is activating the survival channel. The survival channel is provoked by fear and threat. And when the fear and threat are repeated again and again, it provokes anxiety and stress. And when anxiety and stress are repeated again and again, we think again and again about threat, about fear. It activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is characterized by freezing, despair, and apathy. So that's one way of operating when we experience uncertainty. And even if we don't experience it all the time, we can see that during a day, normal day, there are different channels in us are activated, and sometimes there is this survival. How do I protect my business? How do I protect my family? How do I protect my money, and so forth? And we feel this influence. How does survival channel influence us? But it doesn't have to be that way, and only in that way. And the Cotter Institute also identified through their researches that there are other ways to operate. And uncertainty can, in some circumstances, provoke what they call the thrive channel. The thrive channel is that when we face uncertainty, when things are changing, and this is uncertainty, what was known until yesterday is not anymore so much sure and certain and known today. So the mind starts to look around and to search for new opportunities. And when we search for new opportunities in some conditions, it creates some joy, some excitement, some enthusiasm, although not always and not very strong. And this is the thrive channel. Thrive channel provokes the sympathetic nervous system, which is characterized by broadening our perspective, they say, not me, more creativity and more willing to collaborate with your peers, with people around you. So that's their model. In Mindscapes, we see it slightly different. And we say we don't have to let this mechanism act by itself. We can deliberately and intentionally provoke it and activate it by, when meeting uncertainty, to apply certain creative thinking tools. And what these creative thinking tools do, and this is what will be the session about, they broaden our perspective. They open us for new perspective that otherwise we wouldn't see. And once perspective are broadened, we see new opportunities, and the thrive channel is activated, and then we can come up with new creative solutions and new creative outcomes. So this is, in a nutshell, our perspective. And I want just to start with a brief reminder, to be more of a reminder, that a lot of the biggest, most successful brands and companies around us, and I read recently a research or an article that mentioned more than 50 big companies worldwide that were born, created, or made a breakthrough through a crisis or a recession. So the most recent big brands that are known are Alibaba and JD.com from China, Alibaba. Those who are not familiar, was a B2B online platform who served mainly worldwide businessmen visiting Japan. During the SARS crisis, worldwide visitors stopped visiting, and they had to figure out, what do? We cannot do B2B with foreigners. So they went to B2C, and they became the #1 platform, maybe worldwide, e-commerce. And JD.com was an online electric shop chain in China, which had to close down during the SARS. It's not epidemic. Yeah, it's an epidemic. It's not a pandemic. And they they were forced to go online. And in the first year of going online, they increased their business in 50%, and they became now the #1 online electronic shop, or shop at all, online shop in Asia. And Nutella, interestingly enough, was a small manufacturer of biscuits filled with chocolate in Italy, northern Italy. And during World War II, when there was a short supply of cocoa to create chocolate, their owner, which is Pietro Ferrero, now Ferrero Rocher, invented this cream made out of hazelnut and cocoa. So he kind of diluted chocolate with hazelnut cream, and that became a huge success. And here we have a thriving Nutella ever since. So creativity, talking about the recent crisis, and I'm sure you're all familiar because we are so connected and everybody is online, and you see probably much more than I myself see, creativity is already exploding. We see it all over. I've been exposed recently to amazing dance that were created, ballet dancers in big ballet theaters in Europe who are locked down. And they composed a whole ballet made by people who are recording themselves, video recording themselves, dancing at home, and then mixing it and editing it together. And there are beautiful dances, beautiful opera pieces from remote players, remote singers, remote choir. Amazing things are happening already. And we can, I'll show you just